I actually want to share a story with y'all. This is the story of why I started manifesting self-employment. I stumbled upon the law of attraction right after I got up off the streets and turned myself into a homeless shelter. And that was at the very beginning of 2016. All year, 2016, I was researching and playing with the law of attraction. You know, little things. You know, nothing big, nothing major, just little things. But enough to get me to buy into it, you know? So after about a year, I had manifested a couple of big things. I began meditating and using brain entrainment frequencies, theta waves. And I started meditating and envisioning. And it was a little bit botched and a little bit sloppy, but I was doing some things that were making certain visions come into my reality. You know, like I busted a big move, my first big move I saw in a vision, you know, and I could see what my surrounding scenery looked like in the move, you know, and watched it unfold in front of my eyes. That just enough to get me to really buy into it. Like, okay, I haven't quite mastered this yet, but there's something to this, you know, like something serious. So it was about time for me to bust a big move again. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to turn to the same tools that I was using, you know, a couple of months ago. So I started my meditations and my brain entrainment. I was going to manifest moving somewhere. Well, I had a certain location in mind. Okay? And it was down south in Georgia. That was the location I had in my mind. So I would be putting these theta waves in my ear, meditating and envisioning. And for some reason, it's like these intrusive thoughts kept shoving their way into my head. And I kept seeing New York City. And I'd be like, no, where is that coming from? Not New York City. I've never even thought about New York City. Where is that coming from? You know, so I would error thought. Okay. Georgia. I think it was somewhere near the Florida-Georgia line too, if I remember correctly. This was several years ago, so I may be butchering some of these memories, but be like, okay, back to Georgia. And I'd be envisioning a move to Georgia. And then these thoughts, these visions would like intrude into my awareness, New York City. Finally, I ripped my earbuds out and I stood and I just kind of set up like, what is with this whole New York City thing, man? Finally, I just had this little intuitive nudge, just go with it. I'm like, man, that kind of scares me. It makes me a little bit nervous, but okay. So I started going with it. New York City. I'm going through New York City on a bus. And then this other thought started intruding itself in to my awareness. You are a successful entrepreneur. Okay. Now this wasn't English words, you know. It was like a vibration. It was it was almost like a telepathic communication. And I'm just putting English words to, you know. You are a successful self-employed entrepreneur. What? I've lived below the poverty line my entire adult life. Never made much more than minimum wage. You know, spent time homeless, living under bridges. What are you talking about? Just go with it. Is what I would hear in my head. Just go with it. Okay, I might be wasting my time, but okay. New York City, successful self-employed entrepreneur. That's all I knew. So a few days of this goes by, And it's time for me to move. Like, I gotta move. I gotta go, like, now. So the person that I had been talking to, arranging this, the move date was set for a few months out. And things were really picking up speed. And I'm like, no, can we arrange it to be any sooner? Like, this has got to happen like now. Like now. And the person I was talking to made some arrangements, got back with me later on that day, said, yeah, sure. As soon as you want. You can come now if you want. So I said, all right, sweet. So I went and bought a bus ticket. And I printed the ticket out. And it said, you have a 6-hour layover in New York City. And I was like, oh, okay. Right on. So I have to start my own business, I guess, you know? Like that just blew my mind how I saw that vision, you know? Where I actually ended up going, I don't think there's any way that the other side could have communicated that to me, because this was all in telepathic communication and in images and visions, okay? Things that I was familiar with. A way of, like, when the universe speaks to you, and I was just learning this at the time, it speaks to you in a way that only you can understand. Okay, so the only thing that it could tell me is New York City is coming up and you're going to be a successful entrepreneur. Okay, well, this is when I moved to Maine. So I get on a bus and I travel from Idaho to Maine. And I get to Maine, and shortly after moving there, I told the woman I moved in with, I said, all right, this is going to sound kind of weird. Sorry, I'm kind of a weird dude, but I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start a business, you know? And she was real cool, real supportive. And within a week of moving there, I got a day job at a car wash. In less than a week, actually. They hired me on the spot, you know? So I was like, all right, this is my next big move. I'm dedicating from now until whenever to manifesting my own business. Hadn't touched a computer in 5 years. Had absolutely no idea how I was going to go about doing this. But this is what I got to do. So that's what I did. I dove in, started building online businesses, started attending law of attraction classes. Dude, every manifestation technique on the planet, you name it, I tried it. I dedicated all the rest of 2017 and the rest of 2018 into manifesting self-employment. And that's what those 2 years were dedicated to before the universe threw me a curveball, and it ended up being this, which was like nowhere near my list of plans. But I mean, now it's just like, okay, well, that's kind of cool how that played out. But I was just thinking about that earlier, about my path here, you know, and that's one interesting part that I kind of leave out when I tell my story a little bit, is that I saw it in a vision. And that was the story of how the universe communicated to me that your next big move is to manifest your own business, you know. So anyway, just wanted to share that story with you. Don't really have a whole lot else to talk about. That just popped into my head. So I was like, man, I got to get this on video. That would make a good video. Good little story to tell. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all have a good day.